All right, guys, welcome back to our next episode. This episode, we're going to be installing the wheel. We got our hubcap back. We have our wheel with tire mounted. We're also going to be doing the exhaust. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys closer. We're going to go ahead and start with the wheel so I can take the lift out from underneath of it, and then we'll go ahead and put the exhaust on. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the rear of the bike. We'll have the nice black hubcap. If you buy our powder coated wheels, it'll come already black. If you get a raw set, it'll just have a raw hubcap. We do provide hubcaps in our wheels. You'll take your 4 bolts. Make sure you do Loctite them with red Loctite. I'll go ahead and bring that wheel up here. With our hubcaps, they mount through the back. So as you can see, they'll sit nice and flush in the face. I have seen people mount the hubcap on the outside. So just to clarify, it does sit like this. It goes through the back. It'll sit nice and flush. So I'm going to go ahead and come to the other side. We'll lift it up. And on the hub, it's going to be the outside bolts. So there's a set that's closer and a set that's farther. It's going to be the farther of the bolts. So what you can do is rotate your hubcap. Get one of the bolts in there. You can kind of hold it with your finger through the wheel. Just like that. And then you'll just line it up with the bolt. Once you get one on, you can go ahead and take the rest of the 4. Again, just keep them hand tight for now. You can go ahead and put it on the little ratchet here. And you may have to pick up the wheel. Now that they're all hand tightened, you can go through and tighten them all back with a ratchet. It's going to be similar to a car wheel. Just go side to side. Do a little star pattern so everything tightens up nice and flush. So I'm going to bring you guys to this side over here so you can get a better look. All right, as you can see, we have our TRS exhaust back. We went ahead and powder coated the bracket black, as well as Cerakote the muffler and Cerakote the header black. So we're going to go ahead and start installing this. Super easy. And I'll bring you guys closer so we can kind of see better what we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start on the back of the bike. In your kit, you're going to have 3 different bolts. 2 of them are going to be the same size. One of them is going to be a little bit smaller. We're going to start off with the 2 that are a little bit longer. Of course, you're going to red Loctite everything. And we're going to start by installing the rear hanger. So you're going to put it back here. And you're going to start by just finger tight these bolts. You don't want them too tight because this needs to move around during the final steps. So just finger tight everything first. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and start on the header. Gonna move all this over here real quick. In your kit, it'll come with a provided gasket. So you're going to put that on the motor. You want to make sure that gets all the way in there and it sits nice and flat. The plastic can kind of get a little in the way when trying to put that in. So just make sure that it's all the way in there nice and flat, because you're going to have an exhaust leak if it's not. Once that's in, we'll go ahead and put the header on. Same thing, we're going to hand tight the bolts when putting them on. So just go ahead and slide that right up on there. We'll go ahead and move forward on to installing the muffler. You still want to have this loose so it can move. Okay, now that you guys can go ahead and see this top bolt, we're going to go ahead and push this up. Now this band is going to want to fight you whenever you're putting this bolt through. So just take notice of that. You'll put your back bolt through, and the reason we left everything loose is so we can kind of move this around to where it needs to go. So before we put the spring on, we're going to go ahead and tighten everything up. Starting with these ones down here. Just put them all nice and snug, and then once everything's fully snug, you're going to go through and tighten them all back up. So I'm going to catch you guys back after I do that. All right, now that we went through and tightened up all the bolts, we're going to go ahead and put on the spring. So you'll put it through there. Use a spring puller if you have one. If not, use a needle nose plier. You'll hook it on the end. Just slip it right over, just like that. And with that, the exhaust is all done. Everything's all buttoned up. Make sure your header bolts are nice and tight. Otherwise, you'll have an exhaust leak down there that's like a main cause. A lot of people forget to tighten them all the way. Today, we're going to be installing the carb. We also have our filter. We're going to be running all of our lines to it, showing you guys how to install that and what jets and tuning stuff we're going to be doing on the carb. I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys closer so you can kind of see what we're talking about when we're over here. All right, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is jet the carb. You're going to take out the 2 screws on the bottom of the float bowl. After you get those out, take the bowl off. You're going to have 2 jets. There's your main jet and there's your idle jet. So for the idle jet, just take a small little flathead screwdriver, put it right in there, and just take that right up out of there. Once that's out, we'll put our new one in. We're going to be putting a 32. Drop that right in. Get that nice and snug. Next, we're going to be changing the main jet. So I'll put a 10 mil on that little nut. Our little screwdriver has a little socket, so I'll put that right on top. And you'll take that right out. Once that comes out, we're going to be putting in a 118. And you can just go ahead and screw that back down. After that, you can go ahead and put your float bowl back on. From there, the carb is tuned. All right, next, you'll see on the top of the OCO 28 mil carb, there's this little brass fitting. We're just going to cap that off. So you'll put your little cap on there. The caps you are going to have to source from somewhere. We'll put that right on there. It's already nice and snug, but just to make a nice, secure peace of mind, we'll put a little zip tie on there. And we'll tighten that right up so that doesn't go anywhere. And there you go. Now that cap won't come off. It's nice and snug. Next thing we're going to be doing is you'll see your idle screw down here. If you do buy the carbs from us, this is already done. On a 171, we already pre-do these. If it's just the carb, then we haven't done this yet, so you will have to do this. You can turn it all the way to the right, just until it's snug. You don't have to like overdo it. As you see, I'm just doing it 2 fingers, and a quarter turn out. After that, we're going to go ahead and take the top off. Again, it's just these 2 little screws. So just be a little careful. As you see, it kind of springs up, the springs in there. Once that comes out, you can flip it. and you will have your needle. So there it is. So what we're going to go ahead and do for ours is set it to the second to last notch. If you put it on like a little table or something, you just push that right up out of there. So I'm going to get back to you guys because I'm going to need a harder table than this cloth. So just give me 1 second. All right, as you can see, we went ahead and put ours to the second to the bottom. After that, you can grab the slide part again, drop it straight down. Next, you'll have the little plastic piece. It's kind of like a little bigger part, and that's going to come facing upwards. So the spring will actually hold on to that. So we'll go ahead and drop that down. I'd kind of keep it there for a minute because we're going to actually install the cable while we're here. So I'm going to move you guys up so you can see me putting the cable into the carb and finishing it up while it's still on the bike. All right, so as you can see, we already have our throttle cable installed on the top of the bike. From here, we're going to kind of put everything together all at once because this has to slide down. So you'll take the top of your carb. As you can see, there's a rounded side and like a more flat side. For now, that doesn't really matter, but just note that because it will when you're putting it actually on the carb. So you'll put that on, followed up by your spring. Get that through there. You can just kind of push that all back with your finger and hold it back. You'll take the white little plastic piece. As you can see, there's a little like ridge on it. Let me see if the camera can pick that up. That's going to go up because the spring's going to recess into that. So you'll go ahead and put that through. Hold that back with your finger. You'll take the slide part with your needle in it. As you can see, there's a little notch here. You'll put your cable into that. And on that plastic piece, there's a round side and more of a flat side. That flat side is going to go to the back. The round side is going to come forward towards that opening. You'll just slide that right in. As you can see, it'll slide right over that. From there, you can now take the full carburetor, slide this back. As you can see, as I mentioned before, there's a flat side and a round side. So it's going to go with the round side all the way down. I'll take the top. You'll push that. Kind of turn it this way so you guys can see a little better. And you'll push that straight down. That spring's going to want to fight you, but it's not very hard. Just push it down. And then it will cup itself. Once it's all done, you'll put those 2 bolts back in. Those 2 Phillips head bolts. And that's going to hold it all together. And there you have it. Your carb's all done. We can go ahead and install this on the bike. I'm going to move you guys to get you to a better angle so you can see down here towards the manifold. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install the carb onto the manifold. You'll loosen up your little clamps here. Go ahead and pull the carb up. There's a little side and a big side. Big side's for the filter. Little side goes onto that manifold. So you'll go ahead and just push that right in there. You'll feel it kind of click in. And then we'll go ahead and tighten up those bands. So I'm going to head to the other side of the bike so you guys can see what we're talking about. So when you're placing your bands, if you come through the seat frame, I would kind of place them here so you can access them at all times. If you have it too high or too low, it's going to be harder in the future when that seat's on. So you'll just go ahead and put it in, tighten those up. Okay, so once you have your carb on, we went ahead and just tightened the band closest to the carb so it doesn't wiggle around. We left the back one loose so I can still turn it whenever we're done putting on our hoses and cable to make sure I can move it around to fit best. Next, you'll put your uni filter on. Go ahead and loosen up that band. You just grab it kind of like this. and go ahead and slip that on. After that, you can go ahead and tighten it up. Just like that. And it's going nowhere. Next, we're going to be showing you guys how to install all the vacuum lines and other things like that. I'm actually going to go ahead and probably loosen this back up and just turn the uni so it's nice and flush.
Right here I have the fuel filter. It has the flow arrow going like so. So this part's going to come off the gas tank. I have about 2.5 inch line. I'm going to go ahead and put that onto the bottom of the tank, clamp that on, and then I'll need probably about an 8-inch line to get to the fuel pump. There's an arrow here that shows that the fuel's coming in, and then fuel will come out this side. We'll run it around up into the carburetor. So now we'll just slide this on there. I'm going to have the fuel filter facing the left side so that it can go a little bit easier towards the inlet for the Mikuni fuel pump. And I'll cut, like I said, another 6 to 8 inch section to go from the fuel filter to the fuel pump. The fuel line we're using is Tygon fuel line. So it's a very, very good fuel line. It's black, so we're kind of using it to match the theme of the bike. We'll use this for both the vacuum side and the fuel aspect of it. So I cut the line long because I use this to see what I need to go to the fuel inlet, which will be about right here. I'll make that cut, put it on the pump, and then go pump to carburetor. Now, the thing you're trying to avoid is any bends in the line that would cause a kink and prevent fuel flow. So that's one thing I'm looking for when I'm doing this. You want to make sure you have enough slack in the line to allow for it. So I have a nice smooth bend right here going into the fuel pump. There's no kinks. And then I'm going to come out from the pump through the hole and up to the carburetor. So now we're just going to put this side on the brass fitting for the carburetor here. Push it down nice and snug. And that is complete. The last one is going to be, there's a valve on top of the fuel pump. That's going to go up, over, back, under. Again, come under here, and it's going to go to the intake manifold here. So that'll be the only place that we're pulling the vacuum from on this setup. So I have the vacuum line going off the top of the Mikuni pump, running around, and then we're going to put it into the little fitting right here. It's pretty snug as you can feel, but I'm going to put a little tie off on that as well to make sure that that doesn't get pulled off while you're riding. So I went ahead and actually found that I liked how this ran underneath the carb a little bit better. So I ran over to the valve there, and that is all set now. So now the whole fuel pump, vacuum, all that is all set. The next thing we're going to do is the seat and tail light. And then after that, I think just something small like a license plate bracket. So we'll try to knock out as much as we can right now.
All right, the next part we're going to go ahead and install is super easy. It is the GY6 OTA. It's going to be super easy. It's just 2 bolts. There's going to be a bolt here, and then we provide the other bolt. So the one that you're going to take off the motor, it's an 8mm bolt. Just put your ratchet on there. Go ahead and take that off. You'll have your bracket. One side's going to have a big hole and a small hole. Big hole goes up. So we'll go ahead and put this one back into the bottom. Just like so. We'll keep it loose for now while we finish it up. Next, you'll have your bolt. I'm going to put that through. You'll take your nylock. Go ahead and put that on. After that, you can go ahead and tighten everything up. All right, once everything's all tightened up, you'll have two smaller bolts. After that, you can go ahead and take your bolts and put those in. Who would have thought another car drive by? Okay, that's the OTA plate all buttoned up. We also do include little like bumper pads you can put on whenever you put your license plate on, so it keeps it from scratching. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you guys back to the other side. We're gonna go ahead and tighten up and put the seat back on. All right, now that our seat is all bolted up, we're gonna go ahead and wire in the tail light. So I'm actually going to pin this because the PSP harness has a plug. So I'm gonna go grab a pin kit and we're gonna pin this so we can plug it up. I'll catch you guys back once I finish this.
All right, so now we're gonna be wiring up this tail light. You're gonna have the little motherboard box here, and then 5 wires. There's gonna be a blue, 2 yellows, a red, and a black. For the colors for these, there's gonna be the pin layout for it, or color layout, what each wire does on the website. So if you go underneath the tail light on the website, it'll have the colors for this, and then you can match it up with the PSP harness, which the clip from that has a green, which is ground, orange and blue, which is right and left blinker, yellow with green, which is going to be the brake light, and then black, which is going to be your 12-volt running light. So I'm going to go ahead on the website and see what wire's what. I'm going to strip these out and then go ahead and pin them up. So black is ground, which is going to go to the green. So we'll go ahead and line up that pin with that pin. Let's put the clip in. And then we have red is running, so red's going to go to the green and yellow. Or, I'm sorry, red's going to go to black. Blue to brake light, which is the green and yellow. 2 yellows, which will go to the blinker. So basically we'll just put one in one slot, one in the other. If that doesn't work, well actually, yeah, we'll do that. If that doesn't work, I'll just push the pin out and then flip them around. We're good there. Brake light, good. Brake light, good. All right, this is moment of truth. Left blinker. Oh. Right blinker. Left blinker. We're good. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and tidy up this wire, tighten it up, and put it underneath here. The one thing you want to do is leave this black box free hanging. You don't want it strapped up to anything tight under the seat where it can cause vibrations and then cause the motherboard to get all shaken up. So I'm going to go ahead and button this all up.
All right, so now that I went ahead and finished up the license plate and Ryan finished up the throttle, this bike is pretty much done. I went ahead and also put in oil on the GY6s. It's going to be 900 milliliters. A lot of people make mistakes whenever they fill it up to that dipstick. So that's actually going to be wrong. The way that the motor's positioned, it's not going to read on that dipstick. So just note that. We went ahead and also filled up the gear oil from when we did the short axle. We put about 3/4 of that bottle in there. You don't want to put too much because it'll actually come through the weep hole and get on that back side of that wheel. So just be cautious for that. Other than that, I mean, this thing's done. This bike is, I mean, absolutely beautiful. Probably one of my favorites. I personally love black bikes, and this thing is killing it. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and pull it up off the lift, take it outside, do its first startup. You're going to be tuning it and doing a full shakedown run. We hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. There's a lot of good information in here for people that it's the first time building their bikes. As you can see, I mean, it is very easy, and this bike is absolutely stunning. Not very hard, and we hope you guys use this in the future to build your own personal bikes. So I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. We're going to go ahead and pull it off the lift and do its first startup.